Welcome back. We're here with another Genesis related video from yours truly for the education and betterment of the masses. Cue the intro.
Draw your last pathetic card so I can end this, Yugi.
My grandpa's deck has no pathetic cards, Kaiba, but it does contain the unstoppable
Dueling Wave. Today's topic is one that I feel like no one is covering. To be fair, Genesis content is pretty, it's still in its infancy, but I need more Genesis content from all these YouTubers. I don't care about the TCG. I don't care about Edison or any of those other formats. I need Genesis content. And when I look at some, search in YouTube, trying to find certain stuff that pertains to Genesis, like underrated decks, or the topic of today's video, right? What are the top 5 decks that no one's talking about and playing that are probably going under the radar that can probably top or win Genesis locals? Well, I don't know about YCSs, but I think it definitely can win in Genesis locals. And I think it could even do well at those side events at the current YCSs until we get the full shebang. And so we're going to get into this right now. There's a thing going on in the Yu-Gi-Oh community with the Yu-Gi-Oh mind. Players don't understand that just because a deck has points does not mean it's automatically unplayable. It does not mean that that deck might not even be meta. It literally could be. And so we're going to get into the 5 best decks in Yu-Gi-Oh! Genesis format that are not being played currently, but that should be played because, quite frankly, they might be better than what's going on right now. We know. There's Vanquish Soul, there's Odeon, there's that. These decks might be better than those decks at the moment. So we'll start out with number 5. We're starting out with a fan favorite, starting out with a bang in Blue Eyes White Dragon. All right, so Blue Eyes is pretty dang good in the TCG, as we know. Currently, without Striker Dragon, the deck is clearly worse. I'm not going to sugarcoat it and say, oh my god, this deck is top tier meta stuff. But I'm not going to lie, it does have the potential to be a really, really good contender. This is just a random build that I was able to come up with that definitely needs to be innovated further, right? But overall, this deck is crazy. This deck can produce boards of, double Spirit Dragon. If you really want to go turbo and make some really crazy boards, you can add the Excel Synchro Stardust Dragon and a Stardust Dragon into this deck, where then you can make double Spirit and him, and then on your opponent's turn you get like the 3rd Spirit and you have a Stardust Dragon, and then you can tag out into 2 more Ultimate Dragons. So you have just like a million negates. Currently, the only cards that are hitting this deck are Wishes, and if you want to expand the card pool a little bit more, like to Melody of the Awakening Dragon, and I think there might be one more card hit, but no one cares about Melody or whatnot. You'd think that Melody would be unhit so that, hey, we don't want you to run Wishes, run something else. You can run Alternative Dragon, make it a little bit more interesting instead of just like the new stuff. But apparently Konami doesn't want to do that. But yeah, currently it's only got the one card at 33 points, which is a significant hit. But you have basically 2 options. You can run 3 of this and then nothing else in the deck, right? All your points are allocated. I'm not a huge fan of that. You can run 2 of this and then still have some points for some hand traps and whatnot, or just run 1 of this because you only need it to resolve once. If this resolves once, you are good to go. There's no need to try to get another Wishes. Like, it's fine. Wishes is a great card. You want to run it at 3, but there's sacrifices to be made. And quite frankly, if you take out a bunch of these cards, like if you keep more Wishes in the deck, and you don't allow yourself like non-engine space, then the deck kind of struggles to fill out, itself. But yeah, Sage is a unbelievable, 1-card combo that can lead into a Spirit Dragon plus a Maiden on field and a True Light setup, so you can just keep playing. This deck is absolutely bonkers. That Spell Card Monster Born, a great card in this deck. The Mulch Armies, you can run them because, right, we're only running the 1 Wishes, right? This deck legit has potential to be one of the better decks in the format, but it does come in at number 5, meaning it is the worst out of these 5 decks, but it's still damn good. And if you want to run this at a tournament, you can actually have really good results. On to the next one, number 4. Number 4 on the list, interestingly enough, another Dragon deck. We got Dragon Rulers. This is a build that mainly focuses on getting out the rank 7s, but there are builds that also can do synchro plays. I find those a little bit weird and inconsistent. I prefer this build because it kind of works like a weird like level 7 BA type of deck. It's a really interesting deck. It has ultimate gas, crazy grind game, makes pretty reasonable boards. It doesn't really make anything too unfair, but what it does is it tries to survive, and then you get to the next turn, and then you play with your full graveyard ready to go. You have a card like Disaster, who is just an absolute, horror show for most decks. Or once you summon them, you can just blow out your opponent so easily. If they don't have an answer to this, I mean, this is like Ruddy Rose, but on crack. And one thing that's going for it truly is that it's unbelievably fun to play. This is one of my mains for this format. Absolutely love this deck. And I just realized that Spell Cancer's in here and it has 20 points. Was that changed, or did Spell Cancer never have points? Am I tripping? I don't know. There we go. Now it's adjusted. No mistakes. 100 points. Dragon Rulers. Unbelievably fun deck. One of the more competitive decks in the format. I genuinely think this deck is top tier stuff. And if you are looking for a deck that isn't too expensive, but unbelievably fun to play and very, very powerful into this format, hop on Dragon Rulers. Deck is sick. And you can probably get this skeleton, right? If Omega can be believed, for 81.58 total. Coming in at number 3, we have Fire King. This deck is absolutely bonkers. People don't realize how good this deck is. This deck has infinite grind game. Kind of thinking about how Dragon Rulers win with grind game as well. This deck has an unbelievable grind game. You make very mid boards, but the deck just can grind forever and just outplay and out-resource pretty much anything in the game right now. It can even beat Vanquish Soul fairly consistently. So I think if it can hard counter the best deck in the format, definitely should be in consideration for more play. Now, oh my god, Wave, but it's got 20 points for Volcanics and 10 for the Kieran and 10 for the Ponix. That's fine. This deck is still sick. Give it a try. You will not be disappointed. Fire Kings are my number 3 best underrated deck in the format that no one's playing right now. The number 2 deck for this underrated decks of Genesis is Monarchs. They got brand new support recently, a set or two ago. The deck is absolutely fantastic. It's got all of its engine so tight and clean. It's got an out for pretty much anything you can think of. It's got a floodgate in domain that is at 50 points, but you only need one of it. And then you can run other stuff that's like out of the engine, basically, like Droll and Lockbird, the Solemns, the Foolos, cards like that can really take your deck up another notch. This deck has unbelievable ability with Erebus and chain blocking and Ether to play second. This Monarch's Revolt card is better than Pantheism. They just are making custom cards for Monarchs. It's absolutely phenomenal. Tessera is absolutely unbelievable. Literally every card is so quality. And even this trap, I know people are down on it. This card is absolutely phenomenal. You should definitely be using this because in Genesis format, a lot of decks, possibly like the number 1 deck on this list, or the number 3 deck in Fire Kings, or even Hell Dragon Rulers, and so many decks just don't care about domain. You can just break it and then keep going. You need a card like Monarchic Perfection, which this dude will get to in the midst of your combo, where a lot of times, like when I'm playing this deck, I don't even go domain. I just search this, set this up with a tribute monster, and then you just have a ton in the graveyard in terms of your Monarch spell traps, and then just banish their guy. Basically, you're activating all the Monarch effects. So banish, pop their spells and traps, do this, do that. It's actually unbelievable. Monarchs, super slept on, one of the best decks of the format. So give it a try. Run some Monarchs. Back into domain, back in 2015. Let's go, baby. And now for the number 1 creme de la creme, best underrated deck of Genesis format. Are you ready? Drum roll, please. That's right, it's pure Mitsurugi. I know that Mitsurugi is hit, guys. The 2 cards are at 60 each in terms of ritual and prayers. Guys, this deck is absolutely obnoxious, but in a good way. The deck can constantly summon out search monsters. Yes, Droll kind of hurts it a little bit, but overall, this deck can just keep going. Obviously, it's the best deck in the TCG. I mean, mixed with Yummy, sure, but it's in pretty much every top deck of the top tables in TCG. The deck is still almost as good relative to Genesis power level. This deck is crazy. I mean, hell, even Enemy Controller literally triggers stuff off for this deck because everything works off being tributed. People, don't realize how slept on Mitsurugi Pure is slept on in Genesis format. People, play Pure Mitsurugi, try it out. This deck is absolutely bonkers, and the craziest thing about it is that it's like $70 for the whole thing. Here's a rough skeleton of just a pure Mitsurugi, go first, go second. It's a pure Mitsurugi build, but it is absolutely phenomenal. This deck is crazy. I can't, speak more about it. We literally, me and the boys have been testing Genesis format extensively. We've been running on the Discord Genesis tournament, trying to figure things out. Mitsurugi is the deck. It's got all the modern stuff. It's better than Fire Kings. It's better than Blue Eyes. It's better than Monarchs. It is one of the best. I genuinely think it's better than Vanquish Soul. Vanquish Soul only wins because of those, the rank 5 in the extra deck. If that were to get some points, I think Vanquish Soul would fall off hard. Play Pure Mitsurugi. Try it out. It's crazy. Konami. Habakiri might need points. Anyway, that's the top 5 most underrated decks in Yu-Gi-Oh! Genesis format. What do you guys think? Leave comments down below letting me know, is there a deck that I missed? And if you guys enjoyed this, I'm going to do a video again making 5 more underrated decks of this format, because this format is crazy. It has a ton of potential and so many decks. Yo guys, it's Editing Wave coming at you real quick to update what the hell just happened with the abrupt finish to the video. So, my computer's melting down. No idea what's going on. I think it's just too much going on with the processing power and whatnot. But yeah, YG Omega and my editing software can't work all at once. So kind of have to make an outro like this. So thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed this content, subscribe, like, and leave a comment down below if you'd like to see more of this, like a part 2 of this video, because I'd love to make more, bring light to more Genesis decks that don't really get that much shine in the current format, because everything's so young and there's not much information out there right now. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see ya as always.